Hello everyone, my name is Nick and I'll be doing a short video series, hopefully short, on how to set up PA in the optimal way. This video series will comprise of 4 videos. This one will cover what mods you need to have, the second one will cover how you need to set up your settings, the third one will cover Hog Build and how to adjust Hog Build, and finally, last one will cover the practical implications, i.e. what does this whole mess look like in-game and how you can make the best out of it. This video series is catered towards giving you the most enjoyable but also the optimal gaming experience. So most of the mods I'm going to cover are, while some of them are going to be aesthetic, most of them concern gameplay and improve visibility, controls, selections, etc. So let's get right into it. I'll be covering a total of 25 mods and I'll be showing you the list in a bit. But they're largely separated into 3 categories. So for you to get mods, you need to, as you see, click on community mods and then go to available. Now, all except for one of the mods that I'll be covering are client. So you can go over here to type and filter for client, and this will make your search a little bit easier. So the first mod we're going to be covering is called Human Value Index. This is a mod made by Bot, and this mod gives you ratings that are assigned by top players and can help you, whenever you enter a lobby, see if there are any smurfs, so it's like good players who are playing under changed names, but also you can see the general ratings of everybody in the lobby and thus can gauge how to balance it. Second mod is called Improve Leaderboards. This is a mod made by Flub that adds a couple of adjustments to current leaderboards, including a search function, as well as it shows you the volatile rating, which is a secret rating that is used by the ranking system to determine how good you are and who you're going to end up getting matched against. The third mod is called Clean UI, and in particular the Splash add-on version. Now, I don't use this mod, but I strongly recommend it as it significantly cleans up the start menu and it leaves you just a couple of keys plus some pretty nice splash art. So, strong recommend. The fourth mod is the Owen1 Spectator tab. Oh, there we go. Owen1 Spectator tab by Twitch. Now, this mod is really useful when it's watching not only your own games but also other people's games. It adds 2 new tabs to the Spectator tab on the top left, where you can see things such as total army count, but also things such as the army value in metal of your units. So really useful stuff for when you're trying to judge a game, watch a replay, cast, everything of the sort. The next mod is called Instant Sandbox. And this mod is really useful whenever you're learning the game, whenever you want to try an experiment, like make a bunch of units, throw them against each other, etc. You just click it, it's in your main menu, and it lets you quickly start a game against an idle AI with defunct economy, and then you can just make units and throw them at each other and see how things pan out. The next mod is called Team Color Chat by Dom. This is really useful for in-game because it shows a little color index next to a person's name, which lets you quickly tell apart who's texting, and you can associate that to the in-game events. So this is all for the general lobby mods. There are 3 more mods that I want to talk about briefly that are related to hosting and map editing. The first one is the Ready Up mod. This is insanely useful because it triggers an alert that if people are alt-tabbed or something, their game is going to be pinging, and therefore they can see that they need to get back into it and ready up. Just really useful all across the board. The next one is Direct Edit. Now, Direct Edit is a mod for making maps. And this is really useful because it gives you access to some advanced tools that you can use in map making, but more about that you can go and watch Marshall's video on YouTube, which covers pretty much everything. And finally, the last mod, which I really strongly recommend, is called, wait a minute. Huh. Yeah, I guess this one is not published anymore. But there's a mod called Masquerade. I will find it and I will upload it as well. It might actually, no, scratch this, I'm stupid. This is a server mod. That's why it's not showing. Yep, Masquerade by Neon. So what this mod does is when you host a lobby, you can enable or disable inside the game the ability to disguise all the players in the lobby. So this will randomly assign colors in game. In the lobby, it will also randomly assign like secret names in the game, randomly assign commanders, and therefore when the lobby starts, you don't know who is who. You can't really target. You can't be targeted, etc. So I strongly suggest whenever you're hosting FFAs, especially, use this mod. Whenever you're hosting team games, use this mod. It's super viable. Cool. So this covers the miscellaneous mods. Finally, when we talk about gameplay mods. Now, again, I'm only covering client mods here. There are quite a few really good server mods, such as the Bug Faction, which is currently being finished, but you also have, where we go? You also have Legion, super useful. There's Second Wave, which is more of a fun unit add-on, etc., etc. But yeah, plenty of server mods if you want to go on to. There's going to be a video for that later on probably. But for now, client mods. So there are, I think, 14 or so really important client mods, and none of them are as important as Hog Build 2. Now, this is the mod that basically every single good player uses, and this gives you a significantly expanded and improved system for assigning units to hotkeys, assigning buildings, etc. So I'll be doing a separate video entirely on this mod, which instructs you on how to use it best, different setups, utilizations in game, etc. But really important mod, absolutely get it. It's just more or less mandatory. Cool. So after Hog Build, the second really important mod is called Infinite Build. Now, Infinite Build basically sets every single factory you do, every single factory you place on continuous production. This means you no longer have to click 1,000 units and hope that you never run out of factory queue. But instead, the moment a factory is placed, it will immediately be set on automatic queue. And you can just do something like make 5 tier, etc. This will constantly cycle in between that. Now, one important thing to note about this is there's a really important command you need to learn in game. If you hold Control whenever you click something on the build bar, that something will be placed at the very front of the queue, and you will only have one of those queued. So if you have the Infinite Build mass producing tanks, but you want to get a fabricator out, you hold Control, you click on the fabricator icon, and the next unit that starts will be a fabricator. And you can do this multiple times. So if you click 3 times on the fabricator, you get 3 fabricators, and then the Infinite Build will resume. So really important, learn that Control clicking on factory, but other than that, Infinite Build is basically mandatory. It just saves you a lot of time. The next mod is called, Next mod is called Cover the Line. Unfortunately, it's no longer available in the community mod section, but you can find it online if you look up Cover the Line PA. There are probably instructions on how to get it. It's basically an alternative version of the currently existing in-game mod, which lets you, whenever you hold the right click, issue commands in line. It's a minor improvement, so it's not a must-have, but it's pretty good when you reach higher levels. But yeah, that out of the way. The next important mod to have is called Fabricator Commander. This mod by Neon does something really useful, which is it adds your commander to the idle fabricator selection. This means whenever you hit F on your keyboard, which is the default key for selecting all idle fabricators, your commander will also be selected. Now that's a bit risky because sometimes you can do a Misc, you can send those fabricators, building expansion, and your commander will also walk with them. But overall, because having your commander idle is one of the worst things you can be doing in a game, it's a super convenient mod for quickly selecting it and therefore never having it idle. The next mod I want to cover is called Ecomanager. Ecomanager is a really useful mod, especially for new players, which adds a couple of icons on the side of the game, on the side of the lobby, and those icons allow you to disable power to factories, fabricators, nuke launchers, etc. So it's really useful whenever you're crashing on power, or whenever you're crashing on economy in general, and you want to build some PGens, you just disable, say, you disable all factories, but your fabrics stay online, and then those fabrics can build power, etc., etc. So overall, useful thing for new players mainly. Next really important mod is second picture-in-picture. There we go. Second picture-in-picture for Titans and Classic. This does pretty much what it says. It adds a second picture-in-picture. This is especially useful for streaming and for watching replays, but also in-game if you learn how to use it properly. Very good utility mod. The next one after that is the series of select mods, and there are 3 or 4 of these. The first one is the Angel Select mod. Wait a minute. There we go. The Angel Combat Select. So super useful mod, basically adds angels to the default army, like air hotkey. So if you box select, it will be selected with your air. If you click the all air hotkey, it will get selected with your air, etc. Same goes for the Icarus Combat Select. So these mods, they go hand in hand, and you want to get them together. Third one, Air Scout Select, does the exact same thing. It adds Air Scouts to Combat Select. So when you hit your all air hotkey, this will also be added, and then you can have vision with your fighters. And finally, the Land Scout Combat Grouping. I use these two, and these two are integrated into my base mods, which is why you see them not activated. But these are also like super useful. I use all 4 of these, or some variation of all 4 of these. Same for Land Scout. This means when you box select or when you click all land units on screen, Land Scouts will also be included, and therefore the chance of you running into mines or not having vision for your artillery units is way smaller. Now that we've done with those, the next really important mod is called Splendid, however you pronounce this, Resplendent Palpable Ammunition Projectile mod. And what this does is it adds little yellow icons to every single projectile. So whenever you zoom out, you can see what type of fire there are, etc., what kind of units are shooting. Just super useful, mainly for zooming out. But overall, like, I strongly recommend getting this mod. Again, I have it integrated into my base mods, so that's why I don't have the version that's available in the community mods. The next one I want to cover is the chat alerts. There we go. Chat alerts, basically, whenever you're in game and you receive a message, it's gonna start, your icon of PA is gonna start flashing. Useful if you're alt tab, useful if you're doing something else while waiting for a game. Useful if you have the lobby in the background and you're working, for example, and somebody texts you and you can see that. This is more of it's less of a gameplay, but I still put it in this category because quite often you just can miss messages, and it's super useful to have. The next one is Fog of War lines. There are a couple of variations, and there are also a couple more you can find if you text people in the mods chat on the official Discord. By the way, the official Discord being discord.gg/PA, and you can find a lot of stuff there. But yeah, these mods very useful because they show you exactly how much vision you have, which can be a little bit murky depending on your graphical settings, depending on your monitor, etc. So this mod is just very useful. I particularly recommend the cyan lines as they're extra visible both during daytime and nighttime on a planet. The white lines are a bit less visible. Still pretty good, way better than default, but a bit less visible. Finally, and this is again one of the most important mods, is MorePew. MorePew is the more or less default version for effects that you have in the game. And this mod is useful for a number of reasons. First of all, it looks really fucking cool. The second thing is whenever you zoom out, often your units are gonna disappear. You're only gonna be seeing icons. Sometimes when stuff is shooting at you, it will be shooting at you from beyond your vision range. Through this mod, you can easily identify if what's shooting at you are tier 2 tanks, or if it's a Hawkins, an Ares, a Leviathan, anything. So this is really useful to just have a clear view of the battlefield and just keep good tabs on what's shooting at what, how's that panning out, etc. And the last mod I want to cover is the air team contrails. So this thing by Kiwi generally makes air easier to notice, easier to see how it moves, gives you a better feel for it. So super useful mod, again, generally for control and visuals, also just looks really good. So it will make your game a little bit more colorful and a little bit easier to tell apart. So that was all on the mods that you want to be using in PA. I will probably cover server mods in a separate video, but these are all the mods that can help you with gameplay. And there is one other mod that I intentionally did not cover, which is Auto Factory. I will probably make a separate video on it, but I strongly recommend against using this as a new player, as it will largely be a handicap and it will prevent you from developing good habits for selecting and queuing the right kind of units in your factory. But yeah, this is all. The next video that I will make will be covering largely how you can set up your settings. The one after that will go over Hog Build, and the final one will cover how everything looks and works in game. So thanks for watching, and I hope this was useful.